Hello everybody, welcome to the Empressive channel. The R&B singer Keri Hilson recently did an interview with Claudia Jordan on her Fox Soul show Out Loud with Claudia Jordan, and she revealed that she was pressured to feud with Beyonce. Now, for those who don't know the backstory, Keri Hilson rose to the height of her fame in the mid to late 2000s. She started off as a songwriter, and she was writing songs with producers like Paula Didon and Timbaland. She got her first big look when she was featured on Timbaland's song The Way I Are, and a couple of years later she released her debut album In a Perfect World, and after that she released her follow-up album No Boys Allowed. And she's mostly known for her big hits like Pretty Girl Rock and Knock You Down, which featured Kanye West and Ne-Yo. And I actually did a music documentary on Keri Hilson, and it's not one of my best documentaries because I still need to update it, but it pretty much detailed how Keri rose to fame and why she actually fell off. And the reason for that is she came for Beyonce in a diss track. Now, there is a song that she released called Turning Me On featuring Lil Wayne, and she recorded a remix to the song, and in the remix, she was throwing shade at Beyonce and Ciara, allegedly. Now, the lyrics said this: "Your vision cloudy if you think you're the best. You could dance, she could sing, but she need to move it to the left, to the left." And she was actually referring to Beyonce's song Irreplaceable, so that was a noticeable dig. Keri Hilson also said this: "She need to go have some babies. She need to sit down, she fake. Them other chicks ain't worth my time to talk about. Been had dollars, boy. Go on, get your money up. You know I ain't the only homie on me lined up. I ain't turning it off. I stay turning it on. Go ahead and tell these folks how long I've been writing your songs. I've been putting you on. Just check the credits. Oh, if you want me, you can find me in Decatur. Oh, cause you're turning me off." So this is the song that Keri Hilson felt pressured to record, and Beyonce didn't respond to it. However, Ciara wasn't really all that happy about it. In fact, Ciara felt like Keri was talking about her, and she even subtly clapped back at Keri in her song You Got Me. Now, when Keri was asked whether or not she was dissing Beyonce or Ciara, this is what she said.
Okay.
But there's a rumor going on that Polo Didon talked you into the studio, leaked a record that's considered a diss song for Beyonce and Ciara. Is that true?
It's considered that. Yes, Polo had this idea. No, he did not leak it. It's not the version Polo wanted out. You know, it's a hot verse. I love the verse. Yes, I heard specific names being brought up. No, it's not about that. No, it's not what we wanted to accomplish with this record.
Even though Keri said that the song was not a diss to Beyonce and Ciara, it was pretty hard for some of the fans to believe it. But Paula Didon did say in an interview that he did with Sandra Rose that he did push Keri to record that remix. He said, "Ciara thought she was talking about her when she wasn't talking about her in particular." He said, "I had a lot to do with it. I told Ciara, yo, Keri didn't even want to say half the stuff she said in that remix. I just kept pushing it, and it leaked." Now it's a whole year and a half later, and Keri still has to face that remix. She still hasn't lived that down, he said. Now, that alleged diss track wasn't the only thing that Keri Hilson said about Beyonce that turned some of Beyonce's fans off. Keri Hilson actually spoke out on Beyonce replacing her on Usher's remix to Love in This Club. Keri was supposed to be on the official remix, however, Usher replaced her with Beyonce. And Keri Hilson said that she wasn't mad at it, however, it was a missed opportunity for her to get her shine on the song because she did write on the remix.
When you wrote the verse for Love in This Club, we hear Beyonce singing now. Yeah. When you wrote it, did she sing it like you sang it, or did she change it up? Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It pretty much is the same. Oh, really? Yeah, it's the same, except it sounds like Beyonce. Yeah. You know, she doesn't write everything she touches. I know, Neil.
Now, Keri Hilson didn't lie when she said Beyonce doesn't write everything she touches, but some Beyonce fans took it like she was throwing shade at Beyonce. And the reason why they felt that way is because of that diss song. Now, the thing that really turned the Beehive off was this interview that Keri did with Juicy magazine. She was asked to hold up a magazine with Beyonce and Jay-Z on the cover. However, she didn't want to.
You want to hold the magazine? Just shout out Juicy Mac.
Oh. I can't tell. I won't tell.
Now, even though this looks very petty, looking back on it, I kind of feel like Keri Hilson was just trying to avoid Beyonce altogether, because she knew that when people brought up Beyonce, they were doing it to be shady. And they wanted her to do or say something that would make the headlines. And I think she was trying to avoid that because she knew that the Beehive was going to drag her. And the media didn't really help when they tried to push this beef between Keri and Beyonce. But the Beehive did not like Keri, and they kept dragging her on social media. It was a mess, and they would even bully her in public. And this is one of the things that contributed to Keri's depression, because when she talked about her depression, she said that the online bullying did help trigger her depression. And also, Keri did face some hardships in her career. One thing about the music industry is people do like to blackball. So when she said the things she said about Beyonce, certain people in the industry didn't want to work with her because of their loyalty to Beyonce. Beyonce is highly connected, and she's also very powerful in the industry. So if you go against Beyonce, you're pretty much asking to be blackballed. And I do believe that Keri Hilson faced some obstacles in the music industry. I believe that she was dealing with some type of spiritual warfare, and she was also dealing with people blocking her moves. And she did end up quitting music.
I hit rock bottom a few times. And I'm crawling back to walking in my purpose.
Exactly.
I think I had to give up music for a while. I stepped away. I thought it would just be a year. Mm-hmm. It's been 6 maybe. Mm-hmm. I realize now that I'm grateful for all of those years because I have built myself back up.
I remember a lot of days I was just incapable. I paid over $100,000 in studio time, and a lot of days I would pull up and I didn't go in. Couldn't go in. I kept pushing, and I did some of the best work that I've ever done through that time. So it got easier.
After years of not doing any music, Keri Hilson did do a song with Stonebwoy called Nominate, but she still has yet to release any of her own projects, and people are waiting for it. A lot of Keri's fans are waiting for her to release her own music because Keri Hilson makes good music. That's one thing you can't take away from her. She knows how to make a good song. But unfortunately, some people still won't allow her to live down that alleged diss track she had towards Beyonce. And Keri did open up about it in her interview with Claudia Jordan on her show Out Loud, and she did imply that she was pressured to start a beef with Beyonce.
There was obviously a whole lot of public scrutiny that I had already dealt with for years, and that had built up, and I felt crucified for ideas and decisions that were not my own, that my arm was twisted to do. So that was
remember
really
that, Keri, and I felt so, I didn't know you back then, but I just was like, why are they doing this woman like this?
Yeah.
And why is it so cruel? And why are people taking joy, seemingly, to try to blacklist or, stomp out someone's dream? That's what it felt like to me as an outsider looking in.
It's the price you pay, when you're early in your career, you feel that you have to listen. And when you buck, they buck harder and they make threats. And those threats are huge ones. And you know what I mean? You don't feel like you have a choice. I really didn't feel like I had a choice. It was do this or this will happen. And I'm young, I'm early 20s, and I'm like, they're like, sing this song. You don't have it, you're here for a couple hours. I flew in town. It's that. It's the whole, if you don't, then blank. So you learn, though. You learn to fight harder. I didn't have enough fight in me I was maybe 20, 21, and I have enough fight in me. I wanted this my whole life more than anything. I disagreed strongly with being that type of player. No one could ever compare to Beyonce. Let's just say the name that we're discussing. No one could compare. No one will for a very, very, very long time. And that was never my aim either. However,
it was framed that way.
Well, no, it was absolutely framed that way. It was written that way. Was not my lyrics, was not my writing.
So you had to pay the penalty.
Was not my doing, but I had to pay the penalty. And then I'm caught, like, do I tell the truth? Do I expose them early in my career? I'm super young, super new. This is my first album. I'm so excited. It just soiled my whole dream. So I learned. You live and you learn. You know, you live and you learn. You learn to fight for who you are.
If you could do it all over again, would you do it differently or do it the same?
Oh, I would absolutely do it differently. I don't know if, I guess I would just see what the other side would be if I just fought harder and said no and let them carry out their threat if they were really going to do that. It really felt that way from the top, from the top. So, you know, and I didn't understand. I was like, well, I don't understand. Why is that so important to do? I'm not a shock jock. I'm not even that girl.
So that's what Keri Hilson said about her feud with Beyonce. She said people at the top, she didn't mention any names, but people at the top were pushing her to start a beef with Beyonce. And I absolutely believe this. I believe this 100%. And I can imagine that somebody on her label was threatening her and saying that they wouldn't release her album if she didn't go at Beyonce. So I wouldn't put it past her label if they told Paula the Don to make her record a diss track to Beyonce. And they leaked it on purpose, probably to sabotage her. Who knows? But I think the label made her try to beef with Beyonce. And listen, if labels were paying artists to go at Nicki Minaj, I can definitely believe that they were trying to make an artist go at Beyonce too. The industry is a dirty game, and unfortunately, Keri Hilson was dragged in the dirt, and she had to pay the price for going along with their scheme. It's really sad because Keri Hilson is honestly a very, very talented artist, talented songwriter, talented singer. She knows how to make great music, and she actually stopped making music at the height of her career. So there's a lot of potential that she had that was prematurely stunted. However, I do think Keri Hilson still has a chance to break back through in the music industry because there are people who will be willing to listen to her music. So I do hope when Keri gets the strength, she will release another album. I definitely will be supporting it, but I'm glad that Keri Hilson finally spoke her truth. Anyway, tell me what y'all think about this video down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.